WTL, where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Ian D. Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You
How we
got it.
doing,
We're
Jabron?
back. We're back. We're back.
Yes, we are, and we got all sorts of football to get to, so I think we just need to dive right into it, starting off with that Thursday night matchup.
Yeah, Andy. New York Jets going to the Cleveland Browns. This is a really fun matchup, I think, Andy. Not just for New York Jets and finding that new quarterback in Trevor Siemian, but on the other side, Joe Flacco finding that new life after that Baltimore Ravens career. He has a chance to go to the playoffs for the Cleveland Browns here.
Yeah, and he's looked pretty good, making play after play with this
Yeah.
big cannon of an arm. He still's got some juice left. The Browns are favored, though, by 7.5 points. I know they're at home. I know they're hot, but over a touchdown with a team on its second or third quarterback now, do you really feel good about that?
No, Andy, I was just going to say that the Browns should be favored here, like we said. However, a full touchdown on a short week is hard to pass up here, Andy. Also, the Jets are still a tough out defensively,
Yeah.
and 3 of their last 4 weeks have resulted in either wins or losses by 1 possession. So,
Yeah.
4 of the Jets' last 8 losses have been decided by single digits. So, I'm going to go with the Jets plus 7.5. That's still too much for Thursday night football. I
Yeah.
like the Jets by plus 7.5.
Yeah, you make a really good point there. Even though Cleveland's winning games, it's like they hit a resurgence there. And the
Yeah.
Jets, they don't cover. They've only covered 1 out of the last 8 games. So I think you have a couple factors coming together where people are just over betting the Browns here. This has moved an entire point and a half since that opening line. I think we're in agreement here. We don't feel good about that 7.5.
No, I mean, there is definitely a path to it just because the Jets are, kind of, the Jets still. But this Browns team isn't really just gonna, knock the boots off them either. So I still believe it's gonna take a little bit for the Browns even just to win this game.
Yeah.
So I just like them winning by a field goal or so. So I would go with the Jets here.
How about that total? It's at 35. It looks like Trevor Siemian is going to start for the Jets. So that's
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying, I mean, even with that total being so low, they're still saying, smash that under, smash that under. Where are you at?
Yeah, 7 of the Jets' last 8 road games have gone that under total point, and I would have to assume that this is as well. These are 2 pretty dang good defenses, Andy. I know that total's kind of low, but I'm still on the under here.
Still on the under. My God, we agree. We agree on both those
A lot of
points.
football to talk about left.
You've been adding in a lot of player props and parlays. Are you looking at any plays for this Thursday night game?
Just not a lot that I like during this game, Andy. A lot of people would look towards Breece Hall. He had a huge game last week for the Jets, but the Browns defense is just a little bit too much, and they're going to be keen on Breece Hall. On the other side, you got Joe Flacco that we talked about. The only thing that I would like to look at is his TD passes. Over 1.5 is at plus 130 right now. I do believe Flacco, if they do score, he's going to have a big part of it. So that is one that I do like, Joe Flacco. Over 1.5 touchdowns at a plus 130 right now.
Okay, that would be the only one. Old Joe Flacco, the former Super Bowl MVP, I think.
Yes, sir.
All right, now we got another big game in Big D. The surging Detroit Lions. What a fun win for them. What is this, Saturday night?
Yes.
In Dallas, and the Cowboys find themselves a touchdown favorite. -6 right now. I'm seeing that total being bet down to 53.5 points. This game's going to be on the mothership ESPN.
Yeah, Andy, I think I'll probably stick with the Cowboys here. Also, I might just stay away from this one. This is kind of a weird one, Andy. There's a bit of a worry among the Dallas faithful lately. It's getting around playoff time. You know what that means. They're sitting on consecutive losses here, Andy. That said, the Cowboys didn't play terrible against Miami, but, notching like 340 yards, 242 passing and holding a late lead. Dallas has scored a combined 30 points over the last 2 games after hitting 33 in more than 5 straight. That was all wins. Like you said, as for the Lions, are coming off a huge, strong effort against Minnesota with a 28 first down 389 total yards. I, I think I do like the Cowboys to bounce back here, Andy, just because I know the Lions don't, they're not world beaters. It's still going
Yeah.
to be a close game, and I do like the Cowboys at home by a touchdown.
Yeah, this is a touchy one. It kind of, and this line hasn't moved a whole lot. I think a lot of books had it opening up at 5.5. Now it's at that 6, that key
Yeah.
number of 6. I think a lot of folks are staying away from this because there's so many factors at play. Detroit's playing well, but is this a letdown spot for them? I mean, they're coming off such a high. What's the first time in 150 years they make the playoffs, or they won their division? They made a big deal about that. First time since 1993 was the official number there. But can you get that high and stay that high, especially going on a week where you're going to Dallas and playing a team that's, come on, let's face it, they're ticked off, and they didn't play bad and they still lost.
Yeah, Andy, and the opposite can be said for the Lions that the Vikings probably should have beat them this week, and that's a depleted roster there over in Minnesota. So I
Yeah.
know it's a division rival and all that kind of stuff, and those games are always close. But if you look at this Dallas Cowboys team, it is aching for a win, and I think they just have what it takes to take on this Lions team. And I think this is a kind of a letdown game for the Lions heading into the playoffs. If they're going to get right, they probably need this loss before that.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have that total at
Yeah.
53.5, currently being bet down to 53.5. Detroit's been an over team as of late. 6 of their last 7 games, they have smashed that over. Same cannot be said for the Dallas Cowboys. How are you measuring this one up?
Yeah, Andy, I think the over is the play here. Detroit has combined for 72 points in their, last 2 games. So it's going to be important for Dallas to get off to a good start in this game. So I really do believe Dallas comes out with the foot on the gas and we get a whole bunch of points in this game. Dallas covers late. I like the over.
Like the over. And hey, it's being bet down. That means you're laying money on the over. You're betting it back up.
Let's
I
go.
love it.
That's the way I do it.
All right, let's move on to Sunday.
Yeah.
Divisional game here. This is a high noon kickoff at Raymond James Stadium over there in Tampa. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are hosting the New Orleans Saints. Both these teams kind of surprise seasons, I would say.
Yeah.
Both still very much alive in the playoff picture. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers could knock out the Saints here at home. A lot of folks are saying they're going to do just that. However, they're only a 2.5-point favorite. So under that field goal at home, the Bucs are getting.
Yeah, Andy, I really like that 2.5 line there. If this gets to 3 or 3.5, because we just know that is what this game is going to be. It's going to be one late. This is for, like you said, the NFC South crown. I'll probably stick with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Tampa Bay coming off a pretty good win against the Jaguars, notching 22 first downs and 335 yards of total offense. The Bucs also bagged 4 takeaways in that game. So I really like how Tampa Bay is playing right now. On the other hand, New Orleans kind of a little bit of struggle.
Yeah.
I just can't put any money on the New Orleans Saints right now and feel good about it. I really like the way Baker Mayfield has this Buccaneers team going right now. So I really like the Bucs, especially if you can get it that big at 2.5.
Yeah, there's something to be said for Baker Mayfield and the performance he's had so far this season. And the Bucs have been covering 7 of the last 9 games against the spread. They have been able to cover. The same can't be said for really an up and down season, up and down type of team with the New Orleans Saints. And man, I'm just hearing more and more buzz about the quarterback play out of New Orleans and how Carr was a mistake. He's not their guy. And the opposite type of chatter is coming out of Tampa Bay. So this does feel like a game where I know it's a division type of deal. The playoffs are on the line, but I feel like Tampa Bay could get this, should get this by a field goal.
Yeah, Andy, I really think it might open it up to more of that, but I wouldn't feel good about it. So if you can get it under that 2.5, the Buccaneers is definitely to play here.
How about that total at 42? Let's see here. I want to look at that opening line. It looks like it stayed pretty gosh darn steady at 42. Not much movement there with the total.
No, that's kind of what everybody looks at with these teams, that they score about 3 touchdowns apiece each. So it's going to come right down to it. But I do believe the over is probably going to hit, just because little tidbit here, the Buccaneers ranked 32nd in the NFL in passing yards allowed. So the Saints are going to have the chance to score some points here. I just believe that they're going to make too many mistakes and the Bucs get them late. I really do believe the over is the play here with these NFC South teams.
Yeah, and that's pretty interesting since New Orleans has been a traditional last couple seasons an under team. They just do
Yeah,
not have the high flying offense they had in the days of Drew Brees, Sean Payton, and all that jazz. It's really not even a carbon, not even a shadow of
it's
what that
not.
offense used to be. But even Derek Carr with different weapons, different receivers should be able to get you there against a suspect pass defense, as you mentioned.
I agree. I agree.
You don't have a parlay for us quite yet, do you?
I'm gonna go one on the second segment here for our second NFL one. I'll give it to you then.
Hey, I love building the suspense. So that'll give us a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. We've been enjoying a Bavarian wheat beer known as the EOS, an unfiltered, fresh, sweet style Hefeweizen. Nebraska Brewing Company, world class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTF.